Ayun, ngayon lang ako nakapasok sa Zoom. Anyway, so this is the last topic for fourth quarter. Okay, so let me check the attendance. Today, Firma is only 24. Okay. Okay, so we have Argel, Aloysius, Carl, Crispolo, Denise, Emaden, L, Hayes, okay, Isaiah, Jamila, Jerwin, Janella, Joshua, AL, Corinne, Lizzie, Maximus, Nashley, Paul, Princess, Trisha, Inigo, Aliyah, Andre, and David. Okay, good morning, everyone. So, um, sige, yung iba kasi siguro din ay nagkaroon ng internet connection problem. Sige, kaya hindi makakapasok. So, wala nagpaalam sa firm up, then let's wait for them. Ay baka maya-maya pa sila makapag-in. So, let me see may nag-message. Kung nakikita. Ma'am, good morning po. Question lang po about the lesson. Last week, hindi po ata na-upload yung PowerPoint po sa Moodle. Sa inyo din, hindi na-i-post yung PowerPoint. O baka hindi ko siya na-click. Hindi nakikita sa inyo. Same. Oh, sige. I-check ko siya mamaya after this class. So, yung ating plan for today is so we're going to discuss this lesson 6 about chemical and nervous control. And then supposedly, dapat um, 1 day lang ang inyong quiz, right? So, dahil ang PowerPoint ay hindi na i-post sa Moodle last week, kasi ang alam ko nandoon na yun, so baka hindi lang visible sa inyo. I-check ko siya mamaya. Going to open the quiz 1 week. Okay, 1 week naka-open yung quiz para magkaroon kayo ng time to review the concept about excretory system. Okay, kasi yun ang topic natin last meeting. Tama po ba? Excretory system. Okay, so that's a system that expels body waste or nitrogenous waste from our body. And associated sa excretory system, yung ating tinatawag na urinary system. Okay? And last meeting, okay, sa mga hindi naka-attend last week, so I've mentioned some excretory organs for some animals, okay? Like for single-cell organisms, so what do they use to transport, what do you call this? To transport materials, waste materials outside from their body. You still remember? What do they use? So we have what? Okay, sige. Dahil hindi na review. So we have the contractile vacuole. Okay. So we have the contractile vacuole that they are using to uh, excrete those waste, especially ammonia, outside of their body cell. Okay, and then we discussed about the excretory organs of flatworms, annelids. What is their main excretory organ? So we have starts with the letter N. Sino makakatanda? Starts with the letter N. They do have what? Okay, sige. So we have the nephrigal organ. Okay, nephrigal organs. Okay, so magkaiba yung tawag ng nephrigal organs for flatworms and for uh, annelids like earthworm. Okay, so we have two types of nephrigal organs. We have protonephridia and then metanephridia. Okay, so they have this a simple way of excreting their body waste. Okay, for some kind of animals like planarians, lancelet, flatworms, and so on and so forth. So they have nephrigal organ or nephridia. And then we have for insects. Okay, so what is that specific excretory organ that they have? Usually attached in their gut wall or to their abdomen. So they have very good Princess and David. So we have Malpighian tubules. Okay? So sana familiarize kayo kung anong itsura nun. So yun ay naka-attach dun sa kanilang gut wall. And so doon din pumapasok, nagdi-diffuse yung mga fluid coming from their hemocell or hemolymph. And then yung mga unnecessary materials will go doon. Okay? Sa kanilang hindgut, okay, and then dun sa kanilang anal canal. Okay, so the collecting of waste materials happens in their Malpighian tubules. Okay, so that's for insects, cockroach, and so on and so forth. And then for other vertebrate animals like fish, else reptiles, amphibians, and mammals. So we have this excretory organ, main excretory organ called a kidney. Okay, so I refreshed you about the different parts of the urinary system. Okay, and aside from that, um, we also excrete from our skin. Okay, and digestive system also is important to excrete body waste. Okay. Okay, so that would be our discussion last meeting. So don't worry, double check ko yung ating Moodle ninyo. Okay, so sa section nyo. Kasi bago ako mag-post last week ng exam, nandun na yun. So baka hindi lang naging visible. Okay? Sige po. Again, so we have here the chemical and nervous control, and we'll be talking about how do plants and animals respond to stimuli. Okay, so these are the parts of my discussion today. Okay, so it's all about nervous system, the parts of a neuron, and the different types of plant response. So we have four here, kaya medyo maiksi lang naman itong um, lesson natin today. Okay. We're going to again introduce to you the nervous system para mabalikan kasi this is one of the important topic. Okay. And this is the target learning. Okay, so at the end of the day, you should be able to compare and contrast the chemical and nervous control of plants and animals, and how do they respond to stimuli. So for us, no, compared to plants, animals as well as humans have nervous control. Okay. We have this nervous system, which is like a computer, diba? We can take in information, integrate it, and then respond to whatever signals that we get from the outside environment. Okay. So nervous system is one of the body's control system, and it is a complex higher function. Okay. So this system holds whatever um, your body is doing. Okay, so kapag nagkaroon ng infection or naging affected yung inyong brain, okay, so it affects all your body system, your movement, your the way you respond, or your concentration and the restoring of your memory. Okay, so this is very a complex higher function because it contains different kinds of cells. Okay, and the nervous system is a system that uses electrical impulses. Okay, ayan, electrical impulses to collect, process the signal, and respond to information about the environment. Okay, so napakadali lang yan. Um, let's say for example, you're planning to cook something today, okay, and the signal came from your brain, okay, so that would give you information, your brain give you a signal and information na ito yung gagawin mo. And so the information dadaan yan sa specific neuron nyo, and it will give a response to your muscle kung ano man ang dapat na gawin. So you're going to get materials, okay, cooking materials, and the ingredients, okay, kung ano man ang pinaplano mong lutuin for today. Okay, so that's how you respond, of course. And then we have subdivisions, okay, subdivisions of nervous system, CNS and the PNS. So, sa CNS, ano po yung involved na organ here? So, they call it as central nervous system. So, that means this is the central or the control center of all the body parts here. So, we have two. Very good, Princess and Lizzie. So, we have the brain and then the spinal cord. Okay, so, kaya nga central. Spinal cord, brain and spinal cord is involved here, okay, in the central nervous system. What about for peripheral nervous system? Ayan, pag sinabing peripheral, nasa side, para siyang supporting, di ba, ng nervous system. But, the CNS and PNS are work together, okay? They are working um, together, okay, para ma-achieve kung ano man ang goal nila. Okay? So, sa CNS, brain and spinal cord, sa peripheral nervous system, we have, okay, very good. We have the body nerves. Okay, so we have the cranial nerves and then spinal nerves. Okay, spinal nerves, then sa spinal cord, and then cranial nerves na mostly nandito yan. Is a cranium. Or sa, yeah, mostly nasa brain. Okay, so we have here the body nerves for peripheral nervous system. Okay, ayan. So we have here the CNS for brain and spinal cord and peripheral for body nerves. So sa brain, okay, so at this moment, dapat alam niyo kung ano yung mga parts, okay, ng brain. Okay, di ba? We have cerebrum, cerebellum, and then the brainstem. Okay, so yung mga parts na yun, may mga specific function sila. Okay? And usually, kapag yung right brain mo ang affected, okay, sabi nila, kapag right brain ang affected, yung maapektuhan na body parts nyo is opposite, no? Yung inyong left side of your body ang magkakaroon ng problema. Okay, so ganun yun. And then the spinal cord, okay, associated dito na parts yung mga body nerves, okay? And also sa brain, may nerves din. Well, we have the cranial and spinal nerves. So, maraming tawag sa nerves nun. Okay, so we have 12 cranial nerves and then we have also sa spinal nerves. Okay, so this conducts signals from different parts of our body. Okay. Okay, so this one, this is the summary of nervous system. Okay. So it shows the description of each division of nervous system. So as you can see, nervous system divided into two, central and peripheral. So central, we have the brain and the spinal cord. So sorry, this is the function. Okay, so it receives, it processes the sensory information, it initiates responses, store memories, generate your thoughts and emotion. Okay, and we have the spinal cord that conducts signals to and from the brain. Okay, so that's the function of the spinal cord. And then we have the peripheral. So these are composed of body nerves. Specifically, we have two types of neurons here. Okay, so we have motor and sensory. Pag sensory neurons, okay, the sensory organs to the CNS. So that means the signal came from your five senses. Okay, five sensory organs. Yung eyes, yung ears, yung inyo, ano pa, your tongue, your nose, okay? And then yung signal na yun ay dadaan, okay? Dadalhin sa CNS to analyze and then interpret it. So let's say for example, ano bang example ko? When you trying to touch a hot surface, okay, so the sensory neurons will be the ones sending off signals to the CNS. Ngayon, kapag dinala siya ng sensory neurons, yung signal na yun, dun sa brain nyo, okay, so agad-agad yan magbibigay ng response tayo na dapat, ayan, tanggalin mo yung kamay mo doon sa hot surface. No? It depends sa inyo kung tatanggalin nyo or hindi. Okay, but that's the response of your brain na medyo na may mainit na surface doon sa bagay na yon. Okay? Another example, no? So we have your nose. Okay, may specific na nerve ang tawag diyan. Naaalala ba? Anong tawag doon? Letter O ang kanyang tawag. Okay? So we have okay, so hindi. Okay, very good, Isaiah. So we have the olfactory nerve sa nose. Ngayon, kapag may na-detect or may nag-attach doon na chemical to your receptor, okay? So dadalhin siya ng olfactory nerves to your brain to interpret kung ano man yung naamoy mo, okay? So that's sensory neurons. And then sa eyes, di ba, we have the optic nerve, kung ano man makita mo. Let's say, you see a wild animals. Okay, so yun, papasok yun sa eyes mo, that signals, dadalhin siya ng sensory neurons, and then your brain will interpret that that animal is danger, and so what would be the response? Okay, your response I or the action will be made by your muscle. Okay, so the tendency is that or your response I you will run away, okay, from that animal. Okay, so it depends. And let's say for example, yung favorite person mo, sinabihan kang, you're so beautiful, you're so handsome. Okay? So, what would be your response? Diba? So, it depends on you. Kung sasabihin, ang ganda mo today, ang blooming mo ngayon, Lizzie. O, diba? So, nakadepende yan kung ano man ang magiging response ng individual. So we have here the sensory neurons. So from sensory organs to the brain, to the spinal cord and to the brain. And then we have the motor neurons. Okay, kapag motor neurons naman, from CNS, so ibig sabihin galing sa brain yung signal to the muscle or glands. Okay, yan yung example ko kanina, di ba? Let's say you're planning to clean your room. Okay, you're thinking that you want to clean your room today. So your brain or your motor neurons will send a signal to your muscle. Okay, and then ano magiging action ng kamay nyo, of course. Syempre, you're getting cleaning materials and start doing, ayan, washing everything. Okay, so that's a motor neurons. And then we have two types of motor neurons. So we have somatic and autonomic. Hindi yan automatic. So that's autonomic nervous system. So kapag somatic, so that's body. So these motor neurons controls the voluntary movements. Okay, your especially your skeletal um muscles. Okay, so it controls voluntary movements. Ito namang autonomic nervous system, it controls involuntary responses. So let's say for example, yung inyong visceral organs. Okay, your cardiac muscle. So we cannot control it. So that's under autonomic nervous system. Then autonomic nervous system, we have sympathetic division and parasympathetic division. So sympathetic division, it activates your fight or flight response. So itong sympathetic division, nagyayari yan um, during danger, when you are exposed in a danger situation or during so this is your emergency response, kumbaga. Okay, so that's a sympathetic division. Pag parasympathetic division naman, dahil nga let's say yung heartbeat mo, no, medyo mabilis, okay, dahil nga kinabahan ka, dahil ikaw ay magre-report, okay, in front of many people. So, yung parasympathetic, yun ang kanyang opposite, okay. So, this is, what do you call this? The rest or digest response. So, it restore your body to a state of calm or to a state of rest. Okay, so mas parang binabalik niya in normal condition yung inyong involuntary organs. Okay, so that's a parasympathetic division. Okay, do you get my point? Yes? Yes pa? Nakuha ba tong flowchart? Okay, thank you so much for response. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, so ito naman, this is very important, no? How do CNS and PNS work together in nervous response? Okay, so this is very self-explanatory dahil nagbigay naman ako ng example kanina. Okay, but this is the process. So there will be a detection of a stimulus by sensory receptors. Okay? Ayan, yung mga sensory receptors will get the signals, okay, from the outside environment. And then the signals will be transmitted along the nerves, okay, especially sensory neurons. And then it will be interpreted and analyzed by the control center, which is your brain. And then the impulse will be transmitted to the nerves, or especially to your motor neurons. And then the response and the action will be given by the effector. Okay, by the effector, specifically your muscles or your glands. Okay. Okay, so that's how the CNS and PNX work together. Okay, so let's say for example, sa loob ng katawan nyo, there is an internal stimulus in your heart. And so, madedetect yun, okay, ng inyong body system. So, there is a change in the blood pressure. So, the signal will be transmitted here along your nerves, and then it will be interpreted and it will be analyzed. Then your brain and your impulse will transmit the messages to the motor neurons. Okay, and then your heart, okay, dahil nga mataas, no, meron daw pagbabago sa blood pressure sa heart nyo. And so, what would be the response of your heart? Okay, so the blood pressure increases or your heartbeat also increases. Okay, so ganun ang magiging response ng inyong heart. Okay? Or yun ang magiging response ng inyong cardiac muscles. Okay, so there will be detection, transmission of signals, interpretation processes, and then the transmission of information or impulse. So this is impulse along your nerves, and then the response will be made by your effector. Okay, and then we have here the different nervous tissue. Okay, so we have here the tissue composed of cells. Okay, so sa nervous system, we have two types of cell, the neurons and then the neural glia. Okay, so yung neurons, yan yung tinatawag nating brain cells. Okay, brain cells or neurons. Okay, para mas asosyal. So we have these are the signaling cells that do communicate to other neurons or to your muscles or glands in your body. Okay? And aside from that, you must know the different parts of a neuron. Okay? So we have the cell body. Okay? So the cell body here consists of nucleus. So this neurons is a specialized cell. Okay, napaka-special yan because they are said to be amitotic. Amitotic. Ibig sabihin, I'm sorry, no. Ibig sabihin, they cannot be able to reproduce. Okay? Hindi sila nag-divide. Kaya amitotic yung cell na to. And we are have approximately a billions of neurons in the brain, okay, na present simula nung pinanganak kayo. And so, according to the studies, okay, itong mga neurons or brain cells natin cannot be able to regenerate. Kaya nga, yung mga explanation ng mga medical professional people, okay, na kailangan i-maintain nating healthy yung ating neurons. Okay? So sabi sa kanilang research, no, beyond 10 p.m., no, beyond 10 p.m. as much as possible, yung mga adults, mga young adults like us, dapat um, nakapagpahinga na tayo kasi beyond that time, nagde-degenerate itong mga ating neurons. And so, what would be the effect? Mas hindi tayo concentrate, I mean, yung concentration natin hindi ganun kaganda. What else? Yung ating storing ng knowledge or information ay hindi rin ganun kaganda. So, may mga effect yun. No? Kapag medyo hindi maganda yung alaga no, sa ating mga brain cells. Okay? Ayan, specialized sa cell to, no? Siya ang cell in our body na hindi nag-divide. Okay? So, ayan. And then we have here the cell body that contains nucleus. So, the nucleus, of course, we have also other organelles like mitochondria, ribosomes. Okay, so they producing energy to perform their function, of course. And then we have the cell body, the dendrites. Ito namang dendrites na to. So this is a short branch extension that transmit information or signal towards the cell body. Okay, yung signal na coming from the different parts of your body, dadalhin siya dito sa cell body. Ngayon, kung meron tagadala dito sa cell body, we have also the axon. Okay, so axon starts with the letter A, so that means it transmits a signal away, okay, away from the cell body. And then we have the axon terminal here. Okay, so ito naman, so each axon terminal here communicates to other neurons to its a junction called synapse. Okay, itong maliliit na axon terminal na to, okay, ito naman ang nakikipag-communicate with the other neurons. Okay, so that's axon terminal. And then we have the myelin sheath. So each axon here are covered with myelin sheath for faster conduction of the impulse or ng signals. Okay, so naka-cover siya ng myelin sheath. Okay, and then we have the node of Ranvier. Kapag node of Ranvier, ito naman yung mga uncovered axon. Okay, so nakikita siya in between this axon with the myelin sheath. Okay, so that's a node of Ranvier. Okay, so these are the gaps between the myelin sheath where the axons are uncovered. The axons are left uncovered. Okay, and then ayan, to give you a specific name of cells for axon, we have the Schwann cell. Okay, so that's for the neurons. And for this slide, okay, so this will give you a description for each part of the neuron. Okay, para mabalikan nyo rin yung diagram. Okay, and then aside from neurons, we have another cell called glial cells or neuroglia. Okay, so ito namang neuroglia na to, so this is a helper cell or supporting cell for neurons. Okay, and here they provide physics and maintenance of the nerve cells. Okay, so ito mga neuroglia, okay, so meron silang iba't ibang structure and they have this function. Okay, they have this main function, no, to support neurons. So nagkakaiba lang naman sila with their structure. So we have the astrocyte, the ependymal cell, the microglial cell, and then the oligodendrocyte. Okay, so they are supporting for this neuron. Okay. Okay. So aside from that, we have the different types of neurons. Okay, so aside from sensory and motor, we have the interneuron. Okay, so as I said before, kung titignan nyo itong arrow for motor neuron, so that's away, okay, away from the cell body. So that means the signal or the impulse will go to your muscle or to your glands. Okay, so that's the function of motor neuron. Pag sensory neurons naman, okay, kung makikita nyo, so papunta siya sa cell body. Okay, so the signals or the impulse will go here to the control center to interpret it. Okay, pag interneuron, so it transmit impulses that means within the control center. Okay, between or within the neuron. Okay, ayan. So that's interneuron. And here's the description. Okay, for each type of neurons. And the question here is this: how do messages move along? Discuss it. How is the messages passed from one neuron to another? Okay. So, kanina, di ba, diniscuss natin yung parts ng neuron. So, we have the axon terminal. Okay. So, yung axon terminal communicate to other neurons. Okay. So, yung messages, okay, coming from the axon, okay, there will be an electrical impulse triggers the release of neurotransmitter from the axon into the synapse. Okay, so ano ba ibig sabihin ng neurotransmitter? So these are the chemical messengers or the chemical signal from sending cell to a receiving cell. Okay, and these neurotransmitter pass across this tiny space called synapse. Okay, synapse. So these are chemicals, okay, na ang dala ay messages. Ngayon, itong neurotransmitter na to, magbabind siya dito sa receptor ng neurons. 'Di ba? Kung tatandaan nyo, yung cell composed of cell membrane, okay, yung cell membrane, meron din diyang receptor. Okay, yung receptor will receive and process the message, okay, na dala ng ating neurotransmitter. Okay? And that's how the neurons receive message from the other neurons. Okay? So let's say for example, neurotransmitter, molecules natin, when you try to drink a coffee. Okay, so yung coffee contains a caffeine. Caffeine chemicals. Ngayon, yung ating axon terminals will trigger to release this molecule. So yung caffeine will try to bind here sa ating receptor, and so that would give you an information na your body should be awake the rest of the whole day. Okay, so ganun na magiging information ng inyong brain na kailangan gising ka the whole day. And aside from that, no, pwede rin mag-bind dyan yung mga hormones natin. Okay, yung mga hormones, let's say for example, yung sleeping hormone. Ano ba yung sleeping hormone natin? So we have okay, very good. Melatonin. Okay, yung mga hormones, pwede rin dyan mag-bind. And so, kapag yan nag-bind dyan sa receptor, this will give you an information that this is time to sleep. No? Yung melatonin. No? Melatonin ang tawag sa sleep hormone, diba? So, this will give you information that you need to sleep. Okay, this will give you a signal that this is the time for you to rest and sleep. Okay, so yung mga hormones dyan, kumakabit sa ating neurons to give you message. Okay, so that's how the messages from one neuron to another, no, nagko-communicate sila to each other. Okay, so we have the neurotransmitter or the chemical messengers. Okay, ayan. And okay, so this is another flow chart. Is saying the PNS is composed of nerves outside the central nervous system. Okay, so sa ibang tawag doon ay afferent system. Okay, so these are the afferent neurons. So these information or signals ang sensory niya, okay, para masosyal, joke lang, motor neuron. So we have the efferent in your glands. So ito rin yung flowchart kanina. Okay, so we have the somatic and autonomic. Okay, ayan, somatic. So it sends the brain, okay, usually send information to your skeletal system to move your body, okay? Yung mga voluntary skeletal system. Pag autonomic, yan, sa mga visceral organs nyo, sa smooth muscle, sa cardiac muscle. Then autonomic is subdivided into two, sympathetic and parasympathetic. Okay? Ayan. So usually, when you encounter a question about nervous system, so they're trying to give you a situation, and then you're going to identify what specific nervous system ang tinatanong doon. Is it central, peripheral, or autonomic or somatic nervous system, or sympathetic nervous system? So that's how do they create question, no, sa nervous system. Kaya mas importante na alam niyo yung mga description for each question na nervous system, right? So yun lang naman yung aking what do you call this? Reminder. Okay, kasi you do not have any quiz, no, dito sa lesson na ito. Okay, so that's for nervous system. For plants, okay, so this is just a description for plants. Alam nyo naman na ito siguro, no? Photoautotrophs, yung mga plants, multicellular eukaryotic organism, and the plants, all of the plants respond to stimuli such as light, water, touch, and wind. So they are responding in order for them to survive. Okay, so that's the main goal of all the organisms. We are responding for us to survive and to survive against predators. Okay, and this response of plant against the stimuli is called trophism. Okay, so this is the process or mechanism of the plants. Okay, so we have different types of trophism, and kapag yung plants nag-respond toward the stimulus, so that's a positive, that will give you a positive trophism. Ngayon, kapag against the source of the stimulus, so that's a negative trophism. So the best example here is yung sunflower. Yung sunflower, so this is a compound flower. Okay. So dahil nga siya ay compound flower, yung nasa gitna niya, ito, yung mga dots dyan, yung isa-isa dyan, so that's a one flower. Okay, one flower. Ibigay ng flower to your parents or to your special someone, maganda itong sunflower na commercial. Kasi yung isang dot dyan is a why tinawag siyang compound vowel. Anyway, one of the unique characteristic ng flower is that pag may sunlight, doon siya okay. So, siya sa left na doon yung facing, okay, ng flower na to. Okay. Response to stimulus itong flower na to. Right? Actually, researchers these phytohormones or plant hormones, no, yung auxin. Maganda to kasi nung last time na nag-handle ako ng junior high school, so may isang grupo na their focus sa plant hormone concentration ng auxin using ginamit nila ay plant. So that's their research before. Ang ganda ng kanilang studies, no? Nasa junior high sila. And yung plant hormones we have here, no, auxin, so this is the master growth regulator. Okay? Ayan. So this is the master growth regulator at maganda yung effect niya for some months. Okay? So if we have high concentration of auxin sa plants, ito yung magiging effect niya. The cells in the shoots, okay, let's say sa leaves or sa stem, shoots grow more, and then the cells and roots grow less. Apply auxin in a specific plant. Okay? Ayan, so that's it. And then the cytokinin. Okay, cytokinin usually okay, or mas maging maganda na yung quality ng plant. So, they're adding cytokinin. So, this is in a liquid form. Okay, nilalagay yan sa plant. And this is for root growth. Okay, cell division and differentiation. Okay, ayan. So, it activates photosis, promotes cell division, and one of the advantage of cytokinin is that they delay the aging of the leaves. Oh, they suppresses the leaf aging. They prolong the life of these leaves. Kaya, ayan, they are applying also cytokinin sa mga plants. Okay? So, ayan, ang advantage ng cytokinin. And, kapag, okay, yung pag-apply mo ng ganitong hormones, obviously, there would an effect. Okay? Ayan. It increases yield of the plant, it activates the growth, okay, the bud growth. We have the stem elongation and seed development germination. So makikita natin, okay, so there would be differences, no, ng mga shoots and fruits. So ito, wala itong berylins. Okay, the gibberellin acid. Okay, so if you apply some gibberellin sa size of the fruit if you try to put gibberellin sa plants. Okay? Yeah, it is equally the fruit and stimulates the stem elongation. So that's you have auxin, cytokinin, and then the gibberellins. Okay? Okay, so here are types of tropism. Okay, ito apat lang naman to at saka madali. Phototrophism, so that's number 1. Okay, kapag kayo slide, that means growth and bends in response to light. Okay, kung nasaan ang light, doon sila naka-face at doon mag-bend yung grow ng plant. Okay, so that's phototrophism. And then we have the geotrophism or gravitrophism. Okay, so the gravity here causes the plant to grow. Okay, So may mga specific ng plant na respond with respect to the gravity. Okay? So that's other way to grow, no? We have the geotrophism, and then we have the thigmotrophism. Thigmotrophism, so that means the plants or the movement of the plants is in response to touch. Okay, so the best example here, the mimosa pudica, respond over here, the climbing trees or climbing plants. So kapag meron silang na-detect, okay, na material here, so that's their way to develop also. I mean, plants like yung ampalaya, yung mga vines. Okay, so that's the way of development. Okay, stigmotrophism. So in response to touch. Then we have here the hydro, the plant. Okay, so water. Okay, so the roots here or the movement of the plant is toward the water. Okay, so they are responding again by. Okay, okay. Before I have here a quick activity. Okay, what are the other names ng books? Ang ibang tawag dyan ay phytohormones or plant growth regulators. Okay? So we have three hormones na ina-apply natin sa okay? And bago mo siya i-apply or research, of course, it's ayan, support kung ano man ang magiging result ng study. Okay? Aside from plant hormones, which plant hormones delay aging? Okay? Ang tawag doon ay we have the cytokines. Okay? And then we have another sentence here. It is a type of neuron that carry impulses to muscle and glands. So that means, okay, from your CNS to your muscle. So that's, yes, so we have the motor neurons. Okay, so that's photon. Okay, there are neurons that come from sense organs, senses or ears or blood. So we have very good sensory neurons. Okay, meron pa bang activity? Yes, meron pa. Okay, to give you a summary about them. So this is divided into two, CNS and PNS. Again, have the brain, body, we have motor and sensory. The motors here have two systems, somatic and the autonomic. And the autonomic, we have the parasympathetic and sympathetic division. Okay. All right, so we are done discussing the major system. We have the nervous system, circulatory system, the respiratory, and then the digestive system. Okay, so guys, no, ng aking balikan na topic. Okay? And I learned something from this system. Okay, not just for humans but the other animals. And bilang apat yung kailangan yung balikan no, ng body system. Kasi ilan ba ang body system na dinidiscuss sa science? Ilan ba? We don't have much time to discuss all the body system. So, sa fourth app lang yung nasas natin. Then, nasa nyo yung output or yung ginawang video batchmate nyo system nakasama rin kanilang na-discuss. Okay, very good. So we have them. Okay, we have nervous system. Sige, isa-isahin natin. We have nervous system, circulatory system, respiratory system, immune system, the reproductive system, skeletal system, endocrine system, and the last one we have the integumentary. Okay, integumentary system. Pag integumentary system, ang pinag-aaralan doon is the largest organ in our body is skin. Okay, so pinag-aaralan yung layers of your skin, the what else? Epidermis, dermis, subcutaneous glands, okay, the stratum, okay. At napaka-interesting na topic, yung mga body systems. Okay, so and again, okay, wala na po kayong quiz for nervous system. So yung later, yung quiz nyo, yung quiz number 4, okay, and po siya 1 until Thursday next week. And I just want to thank everyone sa Firma. Thank you for participation and ay umabot tayo hanggang dulo na possible pala yung ganitong type of modality. And ayun, ayun nga, may iisa kayong classmate dito, no, na magko-continue na lang next school year, and that's okay kasi we cannot force them, no? Kung hindi kakayanin. But then, I just want to congratulate everyone here at natapos yung course na to at naipasa lahat ng requirements from first semester up to this day. Nga pala, bukas yung ating submission ng activities, no, yung high school, no, yung may nakita ako doon na isang student na parang na-realize niya na ganito pala yung kanyang identity. I'm not sure kung ano, sino yun. Kalimutan ko. Anyway, and then, ayan, nakita ko rin yung inyong relationship with your classmates, okay, with your parents. Yung iba, naging positive yung kanilang effect ng pandemic, okay. So, talagang kinuwento, and that's okay, no? At binabasa ko isa-isa yung output sa activity 1. Okay? And yung iba, sige, you can upload your activities until tomorrow, until 11:59 p.m. Okay? And huwag kakalimutan yung quiz number 4. Okay? So next week po is completion week. No need to go here sa Zoom. And then, I'll see you next school year, Perma. Akala ko magkakaroon ng face-to-face. So, next school year na tayo magkikita. Okay? Kung lahat